PD, I think it's time I issue a correction. Did you know your daddy's an idiot? Yesterday, I posted a video and then 3 hours later, I took down that video. I don't really do that much. This was one of those times when I took bait, man. When I took bait and I'm just my real, true, just dumb came kind of floating through. I didn't listen to my gut instinct. I'll get into that later though, okay? In yesterday's video, I talked about the ongoing feud between George Janko and Logan Paul. Today we're talking about Logan Paul. And also this guy, George Janko. Specifically, George Janko confronted Mike Malak.
The amount of times I've seen the inside of my body is horrifying.
It's someone who is genuinely hurt versus someone who is the wingman of a actual psycho guy, actual crazy person, Logan Paul. And that's where I was wrong specifically, because from the very beginning, I interpreted all this as a bunch of Hollywood weird motherfuckers. I don't understand this. This type of fighting, I don't do. This type of thing, I don't have friends that are like this. I have no experience in this. So to me, it seems like a bunch of people who are obsessed with clout and money and success just fighting about it in a way that makes no sense, which is unbecoming in my opinion. And that's how I approached the video. With that in consideration, I'm sure it probably would make more sense to the average person, but that is the wrong way to approach the video, because the real truth of it is I glossed over incredibly important stuff and fell for very shallow basic receipts that were provided in an awesome TikTok video that Logan Paul made. Dude, I fell for the TikTok. I fell for the old TikTok apology. So yeah, guys, had a bit of a misinformation moment, but not the funny kind, unfortunately. I really don't want to go too far into Logan's response. I clearly see now there were quite a few things that he blatantly misrepresented. For one, talking about how George had no room to grow. That's just not true. He didn't mean from a career perspective in the video, in the podcast. When you watch George's podcast, he was talking about a more personal perspective. He didn't have room to grow because he was surrounded by bad people, bad entities, which I completely agree with that. And he's a religious man and probably has morals and sticks to those morals more so than Mike and Logan Paul and the group in LA. You know, like it's completely misunderstood it. I fell for the bait. And the second point to that is Logan Paul refuted a bunch of financial shit, which that's where I got super lost in the weeds, because I just don't feel bad for anyone who is a content creator who has to work like a couple days a month and then like bitches about it. I just don't understand. I'm not gonna feel bad for that. I literally will not feel bad for that. But in my callousness in regard to the clout, success, financial aspects of all of it, I glazed over the most important shit, which is just being a bad guy. Logan didn't address being a piece of shit towards George. George felt like he was mistreated on a plethora of occasions, and we saw cherry-picked texts from Logan, and we didn't see anything. Like, it's just, there's going to be more to the story. Obviously, there's no way that George would exaggerate every single aspect of this. And now on to the elephant in the room, which is Bobby Lee. I barely talked about Bobby Lee in my video.
So I have to do what I can, you know what I mean? I'm like a fatter Pikachu. You know?
And I even alluded to, you know, doing the research yourself and going down that rabbit hole, mainly because I haven't gone down it myself. I've heard inklings, I've heard rumors. There's the Tijuana story, which apparently was just a joke. That's what he says. In my opinion, if you joke about that, that's not good. That's not something you should necessarily be joking about, TBH. And that, coupled with the known behavior of Bobby Lee, for example, making people incredibly uncomfortable in interviews, kissing this woman, asking Bobby Altoff to see her feet. I saw that in the Bad Friends podcast a couple weeks ago. That shit went viral on TikTok. Bro is weird as f, and I would not be surprised if he actually did SA George. There's footage of it, apparently. Obviously, Impulsive isn't gonna release that stuff, and it was all muddied by the financial aspect. Basically, in short, I was incredibly wrong to not focus more on that and bring all of that context that I knew about into the situation. I don't know everything about Bobby Lee, but I do know enough to know that he's a weird motherfucker, and he should be beaten up, to be honest. Ari Shaffir should finish what he started. He whooped his ass, I think, a couple times, but I don't know, dude. It's just more of all these insane people out there, and just I'm conflating them all. And for some reason, I threw in George with that group. And looking at it objectively, George is not a member of that. George is a guy who has morals, who is honest, it seems like, who is leading forth with passion and leading forth with what he actually believes in. And sure, he's making a bunch of he's creating a career out of being an adversary to Logan Paul, because it's a thing. So am I. So are a bunch of people. I was wrong to conflate him with these other people. And Bobby Lee, frankly, needs to be investigated. I feel like I talk too much shit about the comedians out there. Like, if I just said what I say, I don't know why I hold my tongue when it comes to those guys. It's like I'm afraid they're gonna see it or something like that. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I don't think any of them are funny. I don't think any of those people are funny. And that's not to say like, well, I'm hilarious. I don't think any of those people are funny. It's more so I don't like them, and I don't get it, so I just don't touch that stuff in my videos, generally speaking. And that's a problem, because I touch other stuff that is equally as bad or equally as clear. So it's just cherry picking, shit going on in my own brain that I'm like justifying and not thinking of in a fully rational way, in which I do generally try to approach videos on my channel that I make in a rational way. I don't know if that comes through. A lot of people just say I'm a fence sitter, but in reality, I try to non-ironically allow a broken clock to be right twice a day. I say that all the time. It's true, dude. I'm gonna do my best to look beside me hating Logan Paul and me disliking Logan Paul. Can you guys stop, please? And show my audience that there is a, just because someone is a piece of shit doesn't mean they're always wrong. Just because you already have a preconceived bias towards a source of information doesn't make that source of information wrong because of your preconceived bias. It's like, it's just a struggle, right? And it's possible to get shit wrong, obviously. At the end of the day, not a journalist, but a little further on in the day, a little further towards the end of the day, I pretend to be one. So, like, I appreciate when people leave negative comments, and nobody told me to take the video down. That was my own decision. When I saw that Logan Paul responded, I watched that. That came out right before I recorded my video. And that was like 2 days ago, something along those lines. And immediately after recording, I sent it to editing, and everyone started putting all their shit on it. We have a couple editors, and I actually said, let me find this. I actually said 2 days ago, need to really take a look at the Logan Paul vid, make sure I don't need to record something else talking about his SA. I don't obviously want to devalue that, even though Bobby Lee is a freak ass MF. It's complicated. That's just my opinion, right? At that time, obviously, at that moment, I started doing more research on Bobby Lee, and I was like, oh my God, dude, this is f***ed up. And then I just stopped after that, because I was like, all right, whatever. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. And then just posted the video for some reason. But before I posted the video, literally 30 minutes before, I said, I am worried about glossing over the SA stuff too much. Bobby Lee really is a f***ing weirdo. I feel like I didn't downplay it, but I was pretty hard on Georgie Boy, which is true. I absolutely was hard on Georgie Boy. I hope I didn't downplay SA. I didn't intend to. I didn't mean, like, when I was recording it, I didn't mean to do that. If that's exactly what I did, I'm not going to be able to change the fact that that is exactly what I did. That's not something that I devalue. Generally, what I record is what goes in the videos, and I know what I say. I don't need to watch them back. I don't, like, it's not a thing that I generally do. I haven't done it in years. I cannot stand to watch myself, and instead of letting that exist out there, I decided to take it down because it's just embarrassing. That's why I deleted the video, dude. I'm not one of those guys who digs in. I like to listen to criticism from any source. I think that it's all valid. Well, some of it's brain rot, TBH. But, it's times like this where I'm incredibly appreciative to have the platform that I do, and I like to listen to criticism and feedback. And usually, if I find it valid, I will respond to it immediately. I get criticized all the time and don't take videos down. This, I very clearly had a real... I felt like I did something wrong, which I did. The end. I took the video down. It was an L. It was just an L. It was just an L. In recording it, I didn't think I did anything wrong. And as time went by, we have a quick turnaround. I should have absolutely waited on that video or just deleted it or whatever. I did also feel bad that I don't like scrapping videos because we do have a team that works on them. We have like a bunch of, that video was recorded and researched and put together and ready to upload in a day. That's crazy, and it was 50 minutes long and has actual good edits in it. Once again, I promise I'm way more based and red-pilled IRL than I am on YouTube. It's not you're not allowed to be fun on YouTube, to be honest. You can talk shit about Logan Paul, and that's it. Also, since this happened, another ex-team member of Logan Paul's group, the Low Gang, Mike Donner, he released a video commenting on the George Janko feud, and his response was very middle of the road. He had some positive things to say about Logan, some positive things to say about George, because he's mutual friends with both those guys. He actually knows the truth of it, and his take is not super anti-Logan or anti-George or anything really. The guy, it just wants to see some positivity. So I recommend watching his video, and his video absolutely speaks to the truth of the situation. And I feel like is transparent and honest. And he says that Logan's shit is just a smoke screen, basically, and that he cherry picked things that he could easily refute to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say, and just devalue everything that George says and try to also seem like the bigger guy by being like, hey, you know, here's the olive branch, which I fell for. I literally fell for that. How embarrassing is that shit? I watched that video, that first thing, and I was like, man, this is just like that PFAS thing, man. Shit, bud. Meanwhile, drinking some PFAS, I got PFAS in my head. And also, to circle back around to the financial aspects of Logan Paul's response, they weren't even accurate anyway. George's first episode of the Impulsive podcast, yeah, September 22nd, 2020. And then in Logan Paul's response, the first payment was in like 2021. And if you average out all the income that he was paid, which I don't even think you're allowed to disclose how much you pay someone in the state of California. Can you, like, there's a lot of contractor protections, and I assume he wasn't a W-2 employee. I assume he was a 1099, but maybe he wasn't because he's an owner. I don't know how that works, but I know there's a lot of protections in terms of privacy in regard to financials. So maybe Logan Paul could be in trouble for that. I wouldn't be surprised. Here's hoping. But yeah, it seems like averaged out, potentially the math could be there in that George, all the money that he made, 300K over, it would be like 5K a month, basically. And then that's before taxes, to 8K a month before, I don't know. But taxes are huge in California, and the cost of living is very high. And all that, though, that's the weeds. I don't give a bitch moan all you want. Go do something else. Get a real job. Go live somewhere where it doesn't cost $150,000 to live a meaningless life. Be a plumber or something like that. I don't know. Like, I'm never going to feel bad for that, and I will never apologize for being mean about that kind of stuff. And I would never expect anyone to not be critical of me in that regard either. I mean, like, what the dude? I'm so lucky. Are you shitting me? And I grew up with like nothing at all, and now my parents are my employees. It's like a dream I live, literally a dream. I don't even like Logan Paul's response anymore. I don't even care about that anymore. That was a lame response. I'm gonna eat some toast. I don't really know. I'm not fixing anything. I'm just doing what's right. I'm not asking for anyone's apology too. If this video gets a bunch of negative comments, I don't care. I'm gonna leave it. I don't take stuff down because of negative comments. I take stuff down because I'm wrong and I believe that I'm stupid. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, I feel like that's it. I mean, Bobby Lee's a fucking freak. George Janko is clearly the fucking victim. I should have reached out to him or something. Looking back on that video I posted, it makes me feel gross. That's why I deleted it. I don't fucking like the video. I don't stand behind anything I said. Aside from a broken clock can be right twice a day, I still stand behind that shit every single day of the week, brother. Even if I'm wrong. But yeah, no excuses, by the way.